There's a single watch that unites the watch world, and it hardly needs an introduction. The Casio F91W. It's one of the highest selling watches of all time from one of the highest selling brands of all time, and it's unlikely that anything will come close to how iconic it is. But that doesn't mean Casio hasn't been trying. Special edition G-Shocks, the high-end Edifice lineup, and even other digitals like this. It seems like Casio is just producing hits. One recent hit is their release of the Casio W86, a follow-up to the F91 that we all know and love. If you were to rank every watch brand, the top of the heap would be comprised of hyper-expensive luxury brands and Casio. It may seem weird that Casio and Patek Philippe are in the same category, but they're both industry leaders, just in their own ways. Casio has consistently had hits, and their successes are some of the most ubiquitous watches of all time. Between the simplicity of the F91W and its popularity, the icon status of the G-Shock, and the elegance of the new Edifice range, Casio is a major player in almost every segment of the watch industry, and it's held in really high regard for that reason. Value. Okay, actually, no. Now for value, Casio actually puts itself in a predicament with its own success. The F91W is $15, which is one of the reasons for its popularity, and it's, at the end of the day, a pretty similar watch to this. The W86 has some important upgrades, like improved water resistance, a better strap, and better backlighting, but it is, at the end of the day, more than double the price of the F91W. If we were to take a second and consider a scary alternate dimension where the F91W was never created, I would say that this model has excellent value. There's a ton of features, it's from an iconic brand, and it looks great. That's not where we live. And you can get an iconic watch that looks similar for less than half the money here. At the end of the day, though, this is still under $50, and there are many, many watches that charge similar money and will break in a month and look terrible. So there's still excellent value here. It's just not the best of the best when Casio has other watches like it for less. Taking a look at the case, if you've worn the F91W, the W86 will feel very familiar, just a tad bigger. In fact, it actually is just slightly larger in every single dimension here. That doesn't mean much though, because the original watch was extremely small, so this is still very wearable. There's a lot of retro flair here, which can be polarizing to some crowds, but I think it looks good. There's text all over it announcing its water resistance and its backlighting, and it's done up in this teal color, and only that teal color. Again, like the original, there's a missing pusher on that corner. I say that because there's a pusher in all other corners, and then a spot where it looks like there should be one and isn't. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just kind of a strange look if you haven't seen it before. The whole case is made of this flexible resin material, and they're screwed in stainless steel caseback, complete with all the specs you'd ever want on it, including what kind of battery and this and that. The display is covered in a plastic crystal, which is expected. One quirk of Casio that's worth talking about is their conservative estimates on their own specs, such as water resistance. The F91W boasted 30 meters of water resistance, but it was tested by consumers and it really is more like 50, even 100 at times. But this one, Casio rates at 50. So you can only imagine the real water resistance rating that another company would give it. Being a digital watch, the dial and hands are kind of self-explanatory. It's a very legible black on white scheme, and it's very easy to read in bright environments because of that. In any of its modes, the needed information is still large and legible, so there's no complaints. It's not too crowded, but it is still a basic digital watch, so not too much credit to award here. The biggest upgrade between the F91W and this year's W86 is probably its backlighting, what the W86 calls electroluminescence illuminator. It is quite good, and the F91W was quite bad, so it's really great to see that upgrade, and I'll show you here. It's just one button press away. It's this top left corner. Turns it on as you're holding it down. It's very easy to use and very bright. It's what you want. The movement here in the W86 is battery powered and digital, and it has many modes. There's a basic timekeeping mode with 12 hours and 24-hour modes, and a stopwatch. In addition, there's an alarm noise and an hourly beep noise that you can set. The tone is loud enough to grab your attention when it wants to. Here's what it sounds like. The included strap is a ventilated resin band, which appears to be integrated at first glance, but it's not. The lug width is 19 millimeters, and the bracelet tapers very well and is flexible and comfortable with more than enough adjustment holes. Resin bands, however, are known to become brittle after wear. This will take a couple years, but rest assured this will probably become brittle and snap at some point. Due to this, many people swap out for NATO straps and this and that, which is easy. It has drilled lugs, and like I said, it's not integrated at all. So how does it fit? This watch wears very well, which shouldn't be a surprise given its small size and fully resin construction. It's very lightweight due to all this as well, and it's very easy to wear, especially when you're exercising. There are enough adjustment holes in the strap to ensure that whoever you are, it'll fit you. It actually has more adjustment holes than the F91. So it wears exactly as you expect, ever so slightly larger than F91, but still great. Ultra affordable digitals tend not to be a staple accessory to a tuxedo, but besides that, this watch is tough, fun, and easy to style. You can wear this watch in any casual scenario, including working out, so that's a lot of time for most people. One thing I would really love to see if there were other color options. It only comes in this teal, which I do think looks good, but I'm sure that if they sold a bright pink or a stealthy blacked out version, or even an army inspired, maybe an olive or camo, I think it would open this watch up to a lot more consumers and frankly look good. Iterating on your own design in a new way is a good thing and should count for your originality, but this watch doesn't exactly feel fresh or new. We've seen countless Casio models that look very similar to this, and we can't lie and say this is a new idea. Beyond that, Timex have done things like iterated on Casio's old watches. Things like this, the Timex T78587, which is a similar layout and even has those teal accents. On screen now are the measurements and specifications. So here's the watch score. At 51, this is scoring just as good as watches that cost multiples of it. For under $50, that's an incredible score, and really shows why people love Casio so much. So what's the verdict? Some people will never want a watch that's pretty unapologetically affordable, but that's part of the watch's appeal. It's fun, it's cheap, and it's reliable. The Casio W86 should absolutely be in your cart if you don't have Casio yet, but it still should be in your cart if you do. It's hard to recommend enough, and I don't think it's a stretch to say that it will carry the torch of the F91W in the future, and it won't miss a beat while doing so. Thank you for checking out the video, and make sure to like and subscribe. See you next time.